Welcome to Seymour from the Front Pew podcast, coming to you from the broadcast studio at Seymour First Baptist Church in Seymour, Tennessee, and featuring thoughts and discussions around loving God, loving others, making disciples, and living the life. I am your host, Tiger Brooks, and now, on to the podcast. We welcome you into what we think is season 5 of Seymour from the Front Pew podcast. Happy New Year. We are glad to be back here in the studio after a good period of time off.
Hey, listen.
Guess who's back? We is back.
You examining your coffee mug there?
I was.
He was.
Yeah.
It's like an etching into it. I was trying to see if it almost looked like it was coming out, but
That's his favorite coffee mug shape.
So this is a
it holds the heat, right?
free information. Not only that, this was one of my Christmas gifts, and I opened it. I was like, okay. And Leah found it at Goodwill for like $4.
So we don't know what old
And
ladies
it
drink out of that cup.
No, it's never been used. It comes with a hot plate.
Ooh.
Oh,
You
yeah.
can set the temperature between 110 and 175 degrees. And so I have it sitting there right next to where I do my devotion in the morning, and I can keep the coffee
Stays
as hot as
For
possible.
$4?
It's $100 mug.
Wow.
Dang, that's
She got it
awesome.
for $4.
I'd have sold that thing.
It even has a lid so you can like keep it, and it's all ceramic, and it's the right shape.
So he's going to mess up one day. He's going to
Perfect.
burn his mouth at 175 degrees.
No, it's actually, I put it at the maximum heat, and it's the perfect temperature for me.
That's awesome.
Yeah, once it gets
Except
through
for,
all the ceramic.
Yeah. So this morning,
Don't leave it on.
I'm on my like third or fourth cup, so I brought it on.
Church
up.
burns down. It's Austin's fault.
But anyway, yeah, that's my new coffee mug.
Austin started
that
the
cool?
fire.
Isn't it cool?
Very nice. All right.
yeah.
So we determined as we were sitting in staff meeting discussing all kinds of things last week that the number one topic that we needed to kick off this season with is the concept of what we are about to undergo as a church, transitioning from one Sunday school and one service, which we've had for a long time.
Yeah, I can't tell you how long. I know that the church
Before any of us were here.
Yeah, and I know that the church has done some different things with service times and multiple services and stuff like that in the past, but I can't even tell you when the last time that was,
Right.
honestly. So,
And kind of set that up, we got to move back a little bit to because this is what has driven everything that you're experiencing in the parking lot right now. We kind of looked at it a couple of years ago, and we were like, we know that we are running out of space in a lot of different areas, worship, Sunday school. We know that something's going to happen, but we knew that also it was going to be moot if we didn't expand the number of people that we could get in here at any given time because of the transitions that would have to take place between multiple services and multiple Sunday schools. And so here we are. We have a mud pit surrounding our church. Because in a few weeks, hopefully, we will have the necessary parking.
yeah. And, just a little backwards context on that a little bit is we have had multiple weeks as early as December, or as recently as December, not as early, as recently as December, where we are single-digit parking spaces in the parking lot, remaining left.
Yeah.
And not only that, we've had people that can't find those or don't want to find those because they are so difficult to find, and they have left. And so, the reality is that means that our parking lot was our lid, if that makes any sense. It wasn't just – now, all of our lids are hitting at the same time. Because we are completely out of Sunday school rooms. There's not one left that's not used regularly on a Sunday morning. It doesn't mean that you don't walk by a room that's not that doesn't have people in it.
Yeah.
Because like our youth, they split out.
Mm-hmm.
They meet together and then they split out. And so you may walk by at 9 o'clock and think, oh, well, that room's empty. Well, it may be for 15 minutes, but there's a class that's coming to that to use it. But our Sunday school spaces are completely full. And honestly, we've been above the 80% capacity range inside the room, inside our sanctuary, for probably a year. And if we look back at our averages, it's real close to that. But we knew we couldn't do anything else in there. We've already added as many chairs as we can add, and we couldn't move to 2 services because there was a lid on the parking lot, and you can't move people in and out. You can't have everybody here or whatever else if you don't have any room there. And so that's kind of the back cursor as to what is driving or what drove us to the point of expanding the parking lot and thinking through that.
So we are aiming at launching into 2 services, 2 Sunday schools the week following Easter. Easter, if you know anything about Seymour, if you're a member here, if you maybe listen to this and you haven't attended yet, then you're about to be informed. But Easter has always been a day, as long as I've been here, as long as most of us have been here, the day that we do away with Sunday school for that one day and have 2 services.
Yes.
So that we can meet the need there, because we could not get everybody who desires to be a part of Easter worship in the house at the same time. So we have, a sunrise service, and then we have 2 other services. And we thought, since we are doing that, let's target that date, the date following that, to just remain in 2 services. And so the rest of this podcast is basically going to be devoted to what that's going to look like. There's lots of questions. I know that a lot of Sunday school classes are right now deliberating as to which window they want to fall in. And when we say window, that's just kind of something I came up with. Window A begins at 9:00.
Yep.
And you've got a service in a Sunday school. Window B begins at 10:30. It will. And you've got a service in a Sunday school. And so you're deciding which window I'm going to attend Sunday school and which window I'm going to attend worship. And so the ramifications of that are many, as you can imagine. For instance, we have a Sunday school that is pretty large, and the only room that they can meet in presently is the choir room. And of course, with 2 services, that means that room is eliminated as a possibility, and that class really is going to have to birth a new class, and they're going to have to become 2 classes and meet in one of the normal Sunday school rooms. Let's just kind of start. One question I have, Jason, that I've been getting a lot, and a lot of the adult classes are coming back to me asking me this: what are the kids and the students going to do?
Yeah.
Because they, in their mind, are thinking, okay, that's going to determine what I need to do.
Yeah.
And so let's answer that question.
Yeah, it's actually the opposite at
Right.
the moment. We're hoping, and to some degree waiting. We're not going to be able to wait, especially if adults don't get on the ball some of this, but we were kind of trying to wait to see exactly where some of those classes land with the kids based on the adult classes.
Mm-hmm.
There will be in both windows, I've been saying sessions, so I don't really know what the wording is there, but both windows, there will be something from babies to 12th graders.
Yeah.
In both
so that
windows.
basically answers the question.
Yes.
There's going to be something. We don't know exactly what it's going to look like, but there will be activity. There will be opportunity for all the kids and all the students at both sessions, windows.
Yep.
And so I think that's the main thing. Now,
and how that lays out is going to depend on how our adult classes lay out,
right,
and where their kids go. We'll get into this a little bit further because one of the things that we believe is very important, and I believe this is what God has laid out for the life of our church, that kids being in with their parents, their families, for worship is still very important to us. That's something we do not want to lose. And so because of that will shape how some of those classes will fall based on the adult classes.
And so I guess I'll take this opportunity just kind of to put this out there, because I'm going to send probably today, this week definitely, but probably today, I've got to send another email to my Sunday school teachers, my adult Sunday school teachers. As I put a email together a few weeks ago, helping them understand that they need to start having those discussions in class and let me know where those things land. Right now, 100% of everyone that has responded is choosing to maintain that first window Sunday school, second window service. And I understand that. But here's what I'm going to say. You know, a lot of times in fundraising campaigns, and I'm going to say this, a lot of times in fundraising campaigns, it takes certain people giving leadership giving, right, to kind of launch into, you know, we're going to start this out here. We're going to challenge everybody else. I'm going to say this. We're going to need some leadership moving. We need Sunday school classes who recognize the fact that the reason that we're going to 2 services is because we all can't stay in the same service window slot. So we are, at this point, are going to have some classes to say, all right, we are going to move to the second window, and we are going to have first window worship, second window B, Sunday school, because that is the only reason. That's the only reason that it's going to be possible for us to even move forward. And so, I'm challenging our adults who may be listening to this to recognize the fact that we have to be uncomfortable. Some people are going to have to step out of that comfort zone and say, "Okay, we're just going to have to adjust." Because the worship, and we're going to talk about worship and what it's going to look like in just a moment. But we are going to have to, in order for this to work and it to accomplish what it needs to accomplish, that room that we were in yesterday, what was our number yesterday? Do we have a number?
I haven't gotten it
Okay.
yet. Sorry.
So let's say it's between 750 and 8, somewhere in there probably is where we have been pretty consistently. Half of that room is going to have to go to the other service.
Yeah.
Half of that room is going to have to be in the other Sunday school. And so just putting that out there.
I think also like as it's like a clearance sale, a good deal for you.
Yeah.
That if you do first service, second Sunday school, probably going to get out of the building first.
Well, that's
Means you get to Kiko's first.
Well,
And you don't have to wait as long.
So I think that's the thing that I think people are not seeing. One is if everyone is choosing to stay in like it is, guess what?
Yeah.
Not everyone is going to stay that way.
Right.
And so, I mean, instead of you choosing that, we will end up having to decide that and push that out. It is not what we want to do. That's why we're trying to do this. But I would say to people, like, there's a lot of things to think about in all of this. Just because this is the way you've always done it doesn't mean it's the only way to do it. And it doesn't mean that there aren't positives to doing it the other way. So one is remind everybody that the services are going to be the same. And 2 is that if you can control your Sunday school teacher a little bit, you can get out quicker. I mean, like you can. If your class is coming to worship and then getting to Sunday school, whereas right now your Sunday school teacher is having to wait. Most of our adult classes don't start till 9:15. You won't have to wait till 10:45 to get started because everybody's going to have been here for worship. You walk up, you go to your Sunday school room, you fellowship a little bit. You're able to get started a little bit quicker, which means they're able to get done on time or before. And when you're done, you're not waiting for the long-winded preacher, right, to finish up the message or the forever long announcements for you to be able to leave the building. And I don't say those to say that that's the biggest selling point.
Yeah.
I'm saying at least think through those things.
But don't everybody rush to the second window at this point.
Right. Well, I've done this. Have you done multiple services?
Nope.
Okay. You've done multiple services. You've done multiple services.
Only one Sunday school.
Okay, yeah.
2
okay.
services, but only one Sunday school.
And
I've done 3 services and 2 Sunday schools.
so I did 3 services and 3 Sunday schools at the church I grew up in, and we managed our youth and children's and all those things. From preaching in multiple, I actually believe that my message is better in the first. I don't mean to say, hey, it's going to be better than the second one. I mean, like, that's not what I'm saying. But generally speaking, I've always felt more comfortable and better with my first one. People always think, oh, it's going to be the second one. Typically, in the back of my head is I'm double thinking. Have I said this already? The truth is, I have. I mean, anyway. So
for me, it was always the opposite. It was always the second.
Felt better in the second one. Yeah.
Just
See, I always felt better. In the
I know
first
what material works and what it doesn't work now. I'm gonna refine it for the second.
Well, so I mean, I use a bulleted note thing, but not everything I'm saying is there. And so I have a feel of how I'm going to do all of that, even kind of the extra stuff as I'm preparing and going over and doing all those things. I'm pretty routine in a lot of that. But you begin to wonder, like, did I say that already, or did I say that in this message or not, or whatever else, and all those types of things, and then I come back in the middle of all of that. You know what? Everything we just said, none of that matters, because if we're going to reach our community, if we're going to continue to see people come to Christ and want to stay here and be discipled and grow in their walk through our church and with our people,
this is what has to happen.
This is what has to happen. This is what needs to happen. I would say this is what I believe God has led us to do at the point where we are, and that this is what we need to do going forward. Y'all, these guys, I'll tell you, I am the last one that has wanted to do this. Of our staff, the reason we haven't done this any faster than what we have, outside of all of those practical reasons why I don't think it would have worked so far, is that I have not wanted this. But I truly believe, and I told our deacon body this yesterday, outside of a move of God telling us that we are not starting the week after Easter, we are starting this the week after Easter. And so God has led that in our staff. He has given us that direction and vision and wisdom. He's given us every indication that we are ready for that, practically taking away all of those things that are holding us back on that end. And we need to trust that, and we need to seek the Lord in that, not just all of these practical things that we can think through and strategize through. I love doing that stuff. We just need our classes to think through, pray through, where do we need to be in order to help our church continue to reach the most people and disciple the most people along this way.
Well, I think you put a really fine point on it yesterday in the State of the Church sermon that you gave. And it was a challenge, I think, to everyone that was there to recognize, what are we really in this for? What is our mission? What is our vision? And are we doing that? And if you really kind of take a look at it, when we began these talks a couple of years ago about what this would actually look like and what we have to do to get there, and we then took the steps as God led us in those directions to get all the foundational things done so that we can contemplate this move. But then you look at what is happening around us, over the past couple of years. I mean, to the point that in a release not so long ago, it is public knowledge now that Knoxville, this entire area is a focus for a lot of move. People are coming from everywhere. They're building houses and apartment complexes and things all over the place. And it's for the foreseeable future. That is the reality that we're living in. More and more people are coming here, and more of those people are lost.
Yes.
And so that is really, God initiated this in us before all of that talk began. And now we're going to find ourselves at a place where we are leveraging our resources so that we can meet that need. Because God has led us to that.
Yeah. And, all of that even makes me think about when we were moving here. The word that continued to stick out in my mind as we moved here was potential. And I think as much as there was potential when we were moving here, I think there's even more ahead for us still. And hear me say, y'all, that is not about numbers. It's not about growth. It is about reaching people with the gospel. It is about seeing these new neighborhoods go in, man, I hope that we have a church member that moves into every new neighborhood that gets built. And your stance on neighborhoods going in doesn't really matter, just to be honest with you. They're going in, they're here.
Yeah.
I hope that we have a church member move into every one of these neighborhoods, and I hope that they'll take up a mission and vision to reach out and to get to know their neighbors and invite them to church and invite them to understand the gospel and to be a disciple and all of those types of things. And I hope that we're able to do that. I mean, I think about, just what I know just from driving around in the last 6 months to a year, 2, 3, 4 neighborhoods that have been built, and we're talking about hundreds of homes. So we're talking about hundreds of families. And I drive down Boyd's Creek, and I know that there's another 2, 3, 4 of those going in over the next 6 months to a year. Y'all, are we ready for that?
Yeah.
I'm not talking about the parking lot.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm talking about our hearts. Are we ready for that? Are we ready to try to interact and to get to know people and love people regardless of where they are or where they come from or what their background is or any of those types of things? Those are the things that we need to be preparing for in the midst of all of this. The last thing that we need is to be worried about, am I going to get to do Sunday school at the same time that I've always done it?
Yeah.
And I don't want to trivialize that, but I want us to keep our focus right.
Yeah.
I want us to keep, God has been working and moving. I believe he's been working and moving because we've kept our eyes focused on reaching people with the gospel. The thing that will kill that the fastest is if we start to say we, I, us.
Yeah.
And we focus all of this stuff not on the lost or not on our community, but on ourselves, on our preferences, on what we like and don't like.
Yeah. Right.
I don't love it either. But this is what God has in store for us next. And this is where we need to be going.
We've talked about a lot of the background. We've talked about what some of these things are going to look like. Let's talk about worship now. I mean, one of the questions we also get is, and the fear I sense from a lot of people is the losing the sweetness of the worship experience, which is what we've enjoyed for some years now. And so let's talk about that. Austin, what will window A and B worship look like?
Yeah, the same. So
Pretty easy.
In my world, not much is changing other than just duplicating.
Twice.
Yeah, and comes with its own challenge, but I think unique challenges. But yes, it's the same. There's no two styles. There's no two different groups of people leading. We've been talking in worship ministry for since Christmas of last year about this coming, about asking people to really commit to leading both, and to think through what that looks like and how you're going to do that. But if you're going to be in orchestra, that you're going to play 2 services. And if you're going to be in choir, that you're going to lead in 2 services. So the kind of simple logistical of how that works is that just like we do now, the choir gathers a couple minutes before the first service starts. They'll run through the anthem. They'll come out. One thing that we will change is trying to always have the choir or soloists or however that works on any given week, but whatever that special music, I guess, is what we used to call it, that it'll happen early instead of rarely before the message.
Mm-hmm.
It'll either be right out the gate or, kind of our traditional way of doing things most Sundays is 2 or 3 songs and then choir sings. And then the choir will leave the loft at that point so that if they're going to Sunday school in either hour, they can get to Sunday school just maybe 10 to 12 minutes late.
Right.
So that's kind of the goal. So they will sing. Orchestra will stick around till the sermon, but the same thing. They'll leave the stage and then they'll have the opportunity to head to Sunday school at that point and catch the last 35 minutes of Sunday school. Invitations will just kind of be a little simpler now. It'll just be piano and me, so that the band can also get to Sunday school. But other than that, the service will look the same. It's going to be the exact same music. We'll do it the exact same way. Just trying to make sure that it doesn't become rote in how we do that. But I think that's always the challenge when you do the same songs in your liturgy over and over again. I think we do a pretty good job of not letting it become that. So that's kind of the goal.
Yeah.
And how we're going to go about it. So,
and I think what you allude to there is something that we need to kind of point out, talk about more broadly, is the timing and coordination of these things are going to be key. That's from all of us who are, launching in and starting services on time, to the Sunday school teachers, really maintaining the right clock there too, because we do want, I'm going to meddling again. There's lots of folks in the house on a given Sunday who are just otherwise occupied and they don't attend Sunday school. We have security people. We have parking lot people. We have technical people. We have worship people who have grown accustomed to just, I'm not going to go to Sunday school. And the truth is, if we are all doing those things and we are all minding the clock and kind of disciplining ourselves the way that we can, then there's going to be an opportunity for all of that to happen. Yeah. If you, even though you're a worship person and you're called upon now to do your worship thing twice, there's going to be those windows of opportunities for you to depart, go to Sunday school, do that, come back and do your thing again. And so I want to make sure everyone is kind of prayerfully considering how I'm going to do all the things in terms of, I want that connection and community from Sunday school. I want that connection and community from worship. And there's going to be a way that I can do all of that and fulfill the obligations that we have.
And I think that that's a good point. And I said this to the worship ministry here at our dinner back in December. I think what would be the challenge for every church member, whether you currently go to Sunday school, you don't, whatever, is that you look at the window of 9 o'clock to 11:45 on Sunday mornings as that's church time. Mm-hmm. Now, where you go, when you go, that's going to play out. But at the end of the day, all of us, if we all commit to giving that window of time, then you don't have to worry about the logistics so much. If it's first Sunday school and second service, if it's I'm going to sing in choir and then I'm going to stay during the preaching of the first service and then I'm going to sing in the choir again and then I'm going to go late to Sunday school, or I'm going to sing in the choir and I'm going to go late to my Sunday school and then I'm going to sing in the choir again and listen to Corey's message. All of it is just the same window of time. Right. It's just a logistics. And I would say, too, to kind of all the things, I keep thinking about, for me, and the way my brain's wired, when we hit Christmas Day, finally I was done. I had stuff all of 2025 until Christmas Day.
It's going to slow down, right?
No, it'll never slow down.
We've said that for 5 years.
I hit Christmas Day, and starting on Christmas, I fell asleep really early in the chair on Christmas night. So let's say the day after Christmas. We didn't have much going on that next week outside of church. And so I didn't really come into work much. I did some work from home, but we began to stay up late and we were watching a series with Eli. And so we were going to bed really late. And I started sleeping in till 8:30, sometimes 9 o'clock. Then I'd get up and I was the first one up in my house. My house sleeps. And so I would sit and listen to choir music, trying to figure out this year's music for 2 to 3 hours every day. And we really didn't get our day started till 11, 12. And Eli wasn't getting up till like 3 p.m. half the time. And there for that week, we got into that routine. And it was kind of nice sleeping that much and sleeping late and everything. But as soon as it was time to get back to work and the kids were getting back to school, that first night, you lay in bed at 10:30 or whatever your normal bedtime, and you're like, I'm wide awake. Mm-hmm. My body's used to staying up another 2 hours. And it was kind of tough. And I got up at 6:15 like I always do, 6:30, and I was tired.
Yeah.
But by 4 days into that, you know what? On my day off, what time am I waking up? 6:30.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. my body's back used to this new routine. The same is true with like what we're doing here. It's going to be an adjustment to a new routine, but if you kind of commit to it, it just becomes normal. It becomes your new normal. And so I think there's a lot of questions going into it, but just being flexible about that. And then on the back end going, you know what? I'm just going to get used to it. I'm going to get used to being at church from 9 to 11:45.
Yeah.
And committing to that. If you're in worship ministry, it needs to be like 8:45 to 9:40 because you can't be walking in as we're supposed to be in the loft. But anyway,
Yeah, and
I think just getting used to that.
I think one of the key words in all this stuff too is to keep a feel is intentionality.
Yeah.
We may have to be a little bit more intentional about seeing people that we used to naturally just come by. It may require us to walk 2 sections over after the service or before the service or in between the 2 windows of time or whatever else, and that we may have to be a little bit more intentional about trying to see people that we love and we care about and we've grown to have fellowship with or whatever. So we may have to do some things outside of the building with other people. We need to add some intentionality to all of those. And in the midst of that, also, I think your original question with all that 15 minutes ago was like, how do we keep that intimate feel? I would say this: for 5 years, in the midst of growing, we've been able to have that intimate feel. And I believe that this is no different. We just have to, we will do some things that will help that. So we've gone from, when you got here, what was our rough number for worship, would you say?
320.
Yeah.
315.
Yeah. So we've almost tripled, at least 2.5 times. And we've been able to keep that same intimate feel. Some people would say, well, you can't have the same feel with 300 that you have with 800. We have been able to do that. Now, there's some intentional things that we do on that we can still adjust and do and control. A lot of that is God working and moving and our intentionality in it. And we will continue to foster that as best we can if you will continue to be intentional about how developing that and having a heart for that. If we go into it and say, this is going to be cold, well, guess what you're going to experience? You're going to experience a cold.
Yeah.
So can I, and maybe I'm wrong, maybe y'all can challenge this if you think I'm wrong. I don't think, if I'm in charge of worship ministry, I am not the author of the intimacy in the room.
Right.
That is not that's not something I control.
Yeah.
I am a steward of it.
Yeah.
And so the intimacy,
kill it.
I can kill it. That's very true. But I am a steward of that. I cannot create some environment. That's true. That's not true. I can create it. That's not the Holy Spirit, though.
Correct.
That is, and worship ministries that try and create atmosphere, I would say that's wrong. But I am we all are a steward of that. The intimacy starts with the congregation.
Yeah.
With the people. That was here. The heart was there. Yeah. The intentionality to sing. I didn't create a congregation that loves to sing.
Yeah.
Right.
I didn't do that. God put this people together with the purpose. And so I think the intimacy that people may be scared of, that's completely in your hand. It's kind of like we've said before from the thing, it's about coming to worship prepared to worship. If you come to worship not prepared, it's going to take you 20 minutes to actually get to the place of worship. But when you come prepared, and that's true for all of us, we've all been in both of those situations.
Yeah.
But if I come to worship prepared to worship, then from minute one, I'm already there rather than approaching it. So I think it's that intimacy that we have loved and that has made our worship so special. That is the congregation. And that is the freedom of the congregation to allow the Holy Spirit to create that intimacy. We're just trying to be stewards of that. So don't, like Corey said, don't come in expecting to lose that. I think that's not something that we can create or that 2 services would.
It's almost shortchanging God and what He's doing.
Right. Yeah.
This is,
replicating the same thing doesn't do that.
Correct. We're not the authors. He is the author.
Right.
He is the one that is creating what it is, and and what is happening in the movement that is happening in the life of our church, which is exactly what it should be.
Yeah.
Him being the one that is doing that. And, I think some of it too comes back to, if we're not careful, this is always the tendency in church, in general, maybe even outside of church, but that when things are going good, we have the tendency to move in the direction of the entertainment side of things. And I'm a consumer of an entertainment thing. That is not church. That is not who we should be, who we need to be, who God wants us to be. We've all heard the difference between a battleship and a cruise ship, and church should not be a cruise ship. Church should be a battleship. And I think that's part of this too, is when we go back to the heart of what you were talking about, Corey, that the purpose behind this is not to grow, to look what we're doing, look and see what is happening here. The purpose in doing this is to allow for more space, to more people to be able to be reached with the gospel. That doesn't happen on a cruise ship. That's only going to happen when we are manning the battle stations. Yeah. When we are going to work and we see, hey, I'm going to come and I'm going to experience the movement of God. I'm going to come and worship. I'm going to come and be a part of Sunday school. But it's also looking and saying, where am I needed in the life of the church now? Oh. Where can I join in, and where can I use my gifts, and where can I be in this area, or where do I need to change? Where does that need to shift and move? And as the church is shifting, my role may need to shift. My role may need to, hey, I'm going to need to be used in the next 2 years in this capacity. And maybe it's going to go back, and there's going to be shifting and moving in that. And that is uncomfortable. I get it. I mean, that's not something that is, that we want to necessarily be in that ballpark, but it is necessary. Again, not for the purpose of our purpose, so to speak, but for the purpose of what God's doing and His plan and His movement.
I want to go back for a minute, shift gears, but pick back up on something that you mentioned earlier with our children's ministry and kids ministry and just family ministry in general. One of the big worries for me that I have mentioned, and I think Jason would agree, we all would agree, we have seen God work in how we approach kids' worship. Yeah. It is not the same as everybody else, but for the last 5.5 years, our kids from kindergarten and up are in worship with their families. And we have seen God work and move in some mighty ways through that. We've seen kids accept Christ. We hear stories about on Tuesday morning, parents waking up and hearing their kids sing songs from Sunday that they didn't even think they were paying attention to, or they're asking about, well, what is sin, or what is redemption, or whatever. And they're 7 years old and they don't understand, but they are listening, even if they're sitting in the floor writing on their clipboard. We have seen God bless that. And we need to maintain that as we move into these new options. And that's one of the things that I want to encourage our families is there is going to be a spot for your children in both hours. We believe what is best for them is to do Sunday school for 1 hour and worship for 1 hour with your family. Yeah. And so that will continue to be our encouragement. It is, I believe, a part of how God has worked and moved inside the life of Seymour First Baptist, and I believe it needs to be a continued move there. And so I don't want to not pay attention to it. I don't want to give you ideas in mentioning it, other than to say, understand that God has worked and moved in great ways that way. Yeah. Please value that. Please help others to understand that. It's one of the things that we got pushback on. Still, from time to time, we'll get pushback on. There's nowhere for my kid to go, and I can't control them during service. If you're having trouble, come let us know. We'll try to help you. Yep. We'll try to help give some guidance. We'll try to help pair you up with someone. I get it. Like, it can be overwhelming if you're a single mom and you've got 3 kids and you're trying to wrangle them. We'll try to pair you with someone that you can sit with and that will have a heart to help you and give you resources for all of that. Please don't look at Sunday school as a way to keep your kids out of worship.
Yeah.
And so I just want to give that warning. It is one of the things that I'm afraid of with this move, is that we're going to have families that are going to decide for mom and dad to go to worship and kids to go to Sunday school. They're here for an hour and they leave. I think it's detrimental.
Yeah.
I think it's detrimental for the family, for the kids, and for our church and how God is working. And so I just want to give a warning on that.
Yeah.
One surefire way to make sure that your kid is not acclimated to worship is to not bring them to worship.
Exactly right. Yeah.
On the contrary, the only way that you can train up your children in the way that they should go, which is a text that we should probably pay attention to, is to bring them and do the hard things.
Yep.
And what we're saying is we're here to help you do the hard things if you need some help in that area. But I totally agree with what you're saying. A couple of things I want to hit on before we get out of here, and we need to get out of here pretty soon. You mentioned it, and I think that we need to just plant the seed that you do need to be introspective and prayerful about areas of service, because you're going to need more volunteers.
Yep.
You're going to need more volunteers. We're going to need more Sunday school teachers. We're going to need more door greeters. We're going to need more host team members to make all of this happen. And so I just put that out there to have you be prayerfully considering all of the areas of service, security, parking lot, all those things are going to have to.
One of the opportunities is like we've had to hold back on starting some new Sunday school classes, that this will open up immediately, that we'll be able to starting some more Sunday school classes and doing some different things with classes that we've wanted to try, but we're like, we can only have one of those at a time because there's no space or whatever else. And so it's going to open the opportunity for that. We're excited about.
And the second thing I think we need to just give some voice to before we get out of here is the concept that this is temporary.
Yep.
There is a
prayerful and hopeful.
There is a vision out there for this to be merely the bridge that gets us to the next phase of development here as a campus, which is another sanctuary with more educational space and then renovated space that we already have, so that we can continue to meet the need that we believe we're going to be meeting. We won't go way down this road for lack of time, but you and I both have been through this and we've experienced this. We've talked to people who have been through this. When we go to two services, when we create that space for more people to come, chances are more people are going to come. There is a chance that we could see a 15 to 20% bump in our attendance, which means that furthers us down the track of getting to that synergy point where we could begin to think about pulling the trigger on the next building.
And again,
which means we would go back. Let me just state the obvious, which means we would go back to one service.
Yeah. And yes, we would, if we can build a new sanctuary where we all can go in. That is my heart. That's where I want us to be. I believe that the next sanctuary is the last sanctuary, and that after we get to that point of capacity, that I believe that the right move for us in our area is going to be multiplying out, not multiplying out our people into First Baptist, but multiplying them out into
another church
or church plants, maybe multiple. They will likely look different than us, so that we can reach more people. We can see God grow the kingdom in our area in more ways. And that is the vision that we have seen, agreed on collectively. And I believe that is what is ahead. Y'all, in the midst of all that, I want to kind of paraphrase and say, making more parking spots and moving to services will not grow us.
Yeah.
It paves the way for God to keep working and us to be reliant and obedient on Him, so that He will bring the growth, and so that He will move, and so that he can be glorified. And so as we kind of, I think, begin to wrap up all of this is to say, we want to be facilitators, stewards, to be able to pave the way for God to continue working and doing. And to do that, we have to keep focused on him. We have to keep evaluating our hearts, evaluating our actions and our obedience. What is he calling us to do? Are we willing to go forward and to keep doing those things? And that's what I want us to keep our focus on.
All right. There you have it. That is episode 1 of season 5 of Seymour from the Front View podcast. We appreciate your support of this. We believe that just like this episode, I think is a way that we can communicate a lot of things that we don't have time to say on a Sunday. So if you heard something of value, share it with somebody. Send a link, post it on your Facebook or Instagram or something like that. So folks will be able to hear this and understand more fully what it is we're doing and why we're doing it. And so we appreciate your attention to that. So until next time, thank you. Bye, fellas.
See ya.
Thank you for listening to Seymour from the Front Pew. Our sole desire for this podcast is to glorify God by educating and encouraging his body. If you would like to learn more about anything you've heard today, feel free to reach out by email at staff@seymourfbc.org or by visiting our website at seymourfbc.org. If you're located near our community and do not have a church home, come worship with us at 10:15 a.m. on Sunday morning. Until then, we pray God's richest blessings on you and yours as you love God, love others, make disciples, and live the life.